All right, looks like we're just about at 10:03, so we'll go ahead and start with the webinar. Again, this is an overview of the SureColor R-Series resin printers, one of the newest signage printers in our family of our printers here. If you guys don't know me already, I'm David Lopez, one of the product managers here at Epson America, who covers all of the signage products. So from our solvent series, our new R-Series, and our V-Series, the UV flatbed, that we're all extremely excited to be talking about. But today's focus is the SureColor R-Series resin printer that I have right behind me. So usually how I do things is we'll go over through a presentation, which I think answers a lot of the different questions that you'd want to know from this technology and what we're doing here at Epson. And then we'll go through a live demo. You can see me go through all the different parts of the actual printer, and hopefully you get a great understanding. And if I don't say this at the end, if you guys have further questions, please talk to your local reseller, or you can go on to epson.com/resin to get some more information and even schedule a virtual demo or some samples to be made. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the SureColor R-Series overview presentation. All right, so the SureColor R-Series 64-inch roll-to-roll resin printer. Let's go ahead and go next slide, please. Thank you. So we actually have two in the R-Series family. We have the R5070PE and the R5070L. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is that they're almost identical. And that's because they actually are. The print heads and the technology on there is the same between the R5070PE and the R5070L. For reference, PE just stands for production edition, and the L stands for large. Now, the main difference between the two is the actual ink delivery system that you can kind of see there on the picture. Now, if you look at the R5070PE, it's going to have a smaller ink bay. That's going to have one 1.5 liter ink bag per color and maintenance liquid. I'll speak a little bit about that in a sec. And the R5070L is going to have two 1.5 liter ink bags per color, and that gives you a hot swappable function, which again, I'll talk a little bit later on when we're talking about that specific printer. You're going to see it's going to have black, cyan, magenta, yellow, light magenta, light cyan optimizer. And the optimizer, I like to call it a coating or a glue that basically gets put down on the material first. And that's going to help with the dots to adhere to your material and help any kind of dot migration or dot gain, as you might be able to hear, to get a perfect quality image or a really good quality image, because that's what we're known for here at Epson. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Perfect. So the R5070PE, like I said, 1.5 liter ink bags. So off the bat, even a regular production model has a large ink capacity. This is, when we're designing this, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about productivity, we're thinking about industrial style printing, and we're thinking about having the most uptime as possible. So with even our regular production edition printer, you're still going to get that large ink set. We're going to have vinyl production speeds of 225 square feet an hour. So we have one single print head in here. It's our latest technology that we have here at Epson. We do design our print heads, and this has a big, giant 2.6-inch print head that's in both of these printers. Now, again, there's only one print head per printer. This is based on our industry-proven platform. So for those of you who know the S-Series, it's done really well for us. Our S80, S60, really great in the market. And we grabbed that chassis because we knew it did a couple great things that was very important for the R-Series. Great panel-to-panel production and great reliability. So we grabbed that chassis and brought it over to the R-Series. Like I say, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So that's why we did this. This also gets bundled in with our Epson Edge Print RIP software. This is our, it gets bundled in the box, out of the box solution that you can do tons of things. Every sample you're going to be seeing here has actually been printed off of our Edge Print RIP software. Well, that's not to say that if you have an existing workflow, we do really well partnering with the different RIP manufacturers. I do know that Onyx has a live driver. I know Wasatch was working on a driver, Caldera, the EFI Fiery, all the major RIP manufacturers. If they don't already have a live driver, they're probably working on one and should be out very soon. Again, if we know that people have existing workflows, maybe you have a different a cutter or different things that you want to connect all in and have a different RIP software, we do work well with those companies. But if you are maybe starting off new, or you're just you like the Epson Edge Print Rip software, it comes bundled in, it's free, and it does do some amazing things on here. So we'll talk a little bit about that later on as well. One of the most exciting things that we have with the R5070PE and the R5070L is a user replaceable printhead. We've been getting a lot of feedback from customers saying, man, it would be nice to have a user replaceable printhead. Now, one thing that I do want to reiterate is our printheads are meant to last for many years. It's a heat-free technology. It's meant to be in the printer for many, many years. But what we want to do is, going back to productivity, is make sure that you have the most uptime as possible. So what we did was we made a user replaceable printer that you can replace in about under an hour. What you're going to do is you're going to register to our new web software called the Epson Cloud Solution Port. You become part of that program, and you're able to now replace that printhead. So if you have, we know accidents happen. We know, something can happen. It's going to be a Saturday. You're not going to be able to get a tech out right away. Having the ability to have a spare printhead on the shelf, put that in yourself, and get back to production in under an hour is something that we wanted to give to the end users. The R5070PE does ship with one full set of ink. Let's go next slide. Now like I said, it's the R5070L, very similar. The thing that's going to be important here is the hot swappable capabilities. Now this is taking productivity to the next level. We're thinking uptime, we're thinking continuing printing. Another thing I like to say, if you've been to any of my other webinars, is if you ain't printing, you ain't making money. So with that being said, having this hot swappable capability means that, let's say I'm running a full print. I'm running, it's going to take a couple hours, maybe a whole full roll. If you run out of ink in one color, it's going to automatically switch over to the next bag of ink. So you can make sure that you have your productivity, keep going. Don't have to stop the printer. Don't have to do anything, and just keep going. While that's printing, you can actually change out the other ink bag and go ahead and replace that to have that continuous printing. Like the R5070PE, this does get bundled in with our Epson Edge Print Rip software, and also has the user replaceable printhead that we're very excited about here with the R-Series printers. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, that the ink is exactly the same between the R5070PE and the R5070L. But the actual ink for the R5070L cannot go into the slot of the R5070. Now, the reason for that is when you are buying, let's say you have an R5070L, when you're buying the ink, you actually get an ink discount because you're buying 2 pouches at one time. So the cost of milliliters goes down to about 12.5 cents per milliliter for the R5070L compared to the 15.5 cents milliliter for the R5070. So there is cost saving, especially over time. You will see some more cost savings running the R5070L. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about the product concept and what were we thinking when we designed this? Why does this make sense, especially in the signage side, and where is this going to take us? So first and foremost, wide application compatibility. One of the things that we're hearing out there, especially in times like this, we're just hopefully getting over this whole COVID situation, but print shops had to be strategic. They didn't want to shut down, so we had to say, what can I do to serve a market? So what we're thinking about, and this was even before that, we wanted to come out with a printer that was going to be versatile, have a wide media compatibility. So what that means is printing on textiles, printing on your traditional vinyls and banners and things like that, printing on wallpapers, that it's a very huge market that's opening up now, and just have that. And the reason that we're able to do this is with that optimizer that I was talking to you about. Remember I said it acts as like a coating or a receptive, it's a receptive coating that we put down for the ink to go onto there. So this gives us the ability to print on non-coated materials and even textiles and such things. So very, very versed when it comes to the applications. It's also quick dry because this is a water-based technology. It's going to have a high scratch durability because of the nature of the ink. The reason why we call it the resin printer is because the resin plays an intricate part on this whole process. Inside, and I'll show you, I have a image on there that you can really see it, but inside of the ink droplet, there's resin that effectively melts over the pigment and helps with that high scratch durability. And then, of course, because this is water-based, this is actually odorless. So this can be put in any kind of environment without being to different people that are sensitive to smells. Another thing is reliability. So our S-Series, like I said, did very well for us. We had great things that went out in the field, and we got great feedback saying, hey, the panel-to-panel production is great. Accurate feeding and take-up on your system did very well. So what we did was we grabbed that system. It was already industrial by nature. If you've seen our S-Series printers, it's very well made, metal, not bulky, but it's just, you can see it's really well made. So we grabbed that and put that in for our R-Series printers. Another thing we're known for is image quality. So like I mentioned earlier, we actually have our latest printhead technology in this printer. It's going to be a big 2.6-inch printhead, and this is going to help with color consistency. It's going to give us that variable droplet that you're used to from our printhead technology. And of course, this is our precision core technology, which is going to give us really good quality when it comes to different things. One of the nice features that we have on here that kind of separates us from the competition, and it separates us from what we can do out there, is we actually can have two different modes where we do a quality mode where we lay down optimizer color on top to really control that dot and give us that image quality that we're expecting. Again, this is all the stuff that we're thinking about when we're coming up with this product. One of the things we do here at Epson is we get with the times and we say, how can the end user really benefit from a new printer? And everybody's wants is, I want a faster printer and I want better quality. So this is what's in mind when we're thinking about this product and we're designing this product. Another thing is usability. Again, that user replaceable printhead is something huge for us. And I said it a couple of times, I'll say it again. This printhead is still meant to last many, many years. This is an industrial style machine. It's not, you don't have to replace it after a certain amount of liters or anything like that. It's a heat-free technology that's meant to last. We're just giving you that option to have it on the shelf and be able to replace it at your own time. Now, another cool thing, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a sec, when you actually enroll to this user replaceable printhead program, you actually get a 50% discount on the printhead, which is huge off the bat. So even if you just register, you buy that printhead, you have to use it, you're getting an automatic 50% discount, which goes down to about $695 for the printhead. Again, this is going to last, or meant to last, for many years. So the total cost of ownership with this product is very well controlled. And it also comes with bulk ink, and I consider bulk ink for both of them. If we're talking about, comparing it to our S-Series that has the cartridge-based system at 700 milliliters, we're effectively double the ink capacity there. So both models are bulk ink systems. We do have a nice 4.3-inch touchscreen panel that has a lot of information. And for the L-Series, we made it hot swappable that I talked about. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So this is the image I wanted to talk to you about, and kind of shows you a graphic representation of what's going on with the actual ink droplet or ink dot that you're using to print your image. So on the outside is the water-based liquid, which we call the carrier, or that's carrying the pigment down to the surface of the material. Remember, we have the optimizer down, then we're going to have the ink going there. So we have something a little bit different out there as well, is a 3-tier heating system. So what's going to happen is the heaters are going to evaporate that water-based liquid, or that carrier. It's going to melt that resin over the pigment, and that's what's going to help with the durability of the ink. Very important when we're talking wallpaper covering or different wall graphic applications. And we'll get into a little bit about that in a sec. So this is kind of the chemistry of the R-Series ink, or Ultra Chrome RS inks. Next slide. So let's get a little bit into the application versatility. Everybody has their core business. Maybe it's your POP signs or indoor signage. Maybe it's outdoor advertisement. We're talking a little bit more about strategy and being able to shift, maybe not put all your eggs in one basket, and be able to offer more things, especially in times right now where you have to be strategic and change some of the applications. And you're able to do that with this printer. I like to almost call it the Swiss knife of printers, because you're able to print to so many printers. I'm sorry, to so many applications. So the wall covering, big market for the resin ink technology, and it's because of its high durability. Now, one of the things that you want to take in consideration, let's say you're doing a local business, maybe you're doing a hotel. Someone has a actual suitcase, they run against the actual wall covering. Now, if the ink scratches off, then you have a problem. So having that high durability is very important. And that's what the resin ink technology is going to give you, where you're going to be able to know that it's going to withstand some of the natural occurrences that happen while at a business or whatever the case may be. Another nice thing is textiles. So look at the image there. You see the actual couch, you see the pillows. There's a couple ways you can go about this. You can do prototyping for different people that are going to do maybe a different type of application, but you can do the prototyping for it, or you can even do some small run production. In the age of customization, this is perfect. Everybody, people love seeing customized maybe family photos on a pillow or something to accent that. You're able to do that. Or if you're really thinking about interior decor, which kind of takes me to that top right image. If you look at that image, you can really do almost everything graphically with this printer. If you look at the coffee shop under the bar, that can be printed on a vinyl. If you look at the wallpaper, that was printed, that can be printed. You look at even the chair. If you look at that little chair that was upholstered, you could probably print on some cotton canvas and get that done. So that whole little environment you can do. Bottom right is another important thing that I like to talk about is the fine art. Now, being versatile with this printer, we do have other printers out there. We have the P-Series, the photo printers, and those do very well for fine art. But just having that, being able to offer that. And the reason why we can actually say fine art is because of our printhead technology that's in here. The variable droplet, the smooth transitions from gradients, the quality that we're able to get, you can put that into a storefront or different applications and actually be able to offer this service. So great application versatility with this printer. Let's go ahead, next slide. Here's that printhead I've been talking about. This is a massive printhead. 2.6 inches doesn't sound like much. I do have a live version of this. I'll show you during the live portion, but it's a massive printhead that we're able to actually do. Now, look at all the channels on there, or the chips as we call them, or the rows. That's where the nozzles are, or the holes where the ink comes out. It has 1,600 nozzles per color with optimizer, and then 800 nozzles dedicated for the light colors. And this is going to help really get us that quality that we're looking for with a variable droplet size down to 4.5 picoliters. So that's a pretty small picoliter, and it ranges up. And this is important for not only gradients and photo images, but it's also great for solid colors. One of the things is it's very hard to print solid colors with a CMYK process. Adding the light cyan, light magenta is able to really smooth that out and get you a nice solid color. And of course, this is a user replaceable printhead. The amount of engineering hours that was put into this to make this user replaceable and easy enough to be replaced by really anybody that gets, the quick training and be this technical, but be able to do it under an hour is very impressive. And we're really excited here at Epson that we're able to do this with this printer. Let's go ahead, next slide. So let's talk a little bit about the precision core print modes and how we're different out there than the technologies that are out there currently and what really separates us. And it kind of falls down to that printhead technology. That printhead, I like to call it maybe the heart of the machine, or that's really the most important part of the machine. Of course, in conjunction with different parts, makes the whole process smooth, but the printhead is the most important. And we're one of the few people or few manufacturers that can actually say we manufacture the printhead, we manufacture the ink, the printers, the whole process. Why is that important? Is because we understand exactly how to best make this printhead reliable and how to do things like you can see now. So we have two different modes. We have a speed production mode and we have a quality mode. Now the speed and production mode, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a lot faster. But it's a simultaneous drop between optimizer and color. Now you're not going to get any kind of banding and stuff like that, but you can get a lot better quality when you go to the quality mode. And I think the speed difference isn't that much off. So my go-to here is I like to always go with that quality mode. Typically, it's from about a 9 pass and above. it automatically jumps into that quality mode. So let's take a little bit deeper dive into this image here so you can understand what's happening between the two modes. If you look at the top mode, the simultaneous mode, optimizer and color, let's look at the very left. You're going to see a black dot and you're going to see a clear dot. Now that clear dot's that optimizer. That's that glue that I was talking about. And you look at the black dot, that's the pigment. Well, you notice it's slightly off of that optimizer. So what's going to happen is not spread too much. I'm trying to look for the right word to say here, but you're going to tell the difference. Now, if you look at the quality mode, what we've done is the print is intelligent enough to turn off certain channels, lay a bed of optimizer, and then the color on top. Now we're perfectly controlling exactly where the dot needs to be, and that we're able to get better quality when it comes to all the things I was talking about, like smooth gradient transitions, the dot or graininess that you can see sometimes in images, and you're getting that better quality. So that's what we're able to do here with this printhead technology. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. This is a great topic, great heading here, because it's something that's very important. A little bit about myself. I've actually been in the production side. I've been on the dealer side, and I'm now, at the manufacturer side. And going back to my production days, color consistency is key. And especially when it talks about wall graphics. The last thing you want to do is print a bunch of panels, go to your customer, you're setting up the panels, and have something that's not different, or it's a slightly different color. Customer's going to be unhappy. You're going to have to reprint. You're going to waste of ink, labor, go back, unhappy customer. And we thought about that when designing this printer, and we said, we want to make sure that we're able to do this. And there's a couple different things that contribute to having consistent color, because it really is key when doing wall graphics and doing this in the printing industry. So the heating technology, having the 3-tier heating system is something huge for us, because now we're able to start the evaporation process of that carrier that I mentioned earlier from the platen side. And with that being said, that means our post heaters don't have to be as high as well. And this is going to just help with that even, consistent colors from panel to panel. Another very important thing is our printhead that I was talking about. And it's because it's a heat-free technology. So what does that really mean to you? It means that we're able to have a stable printing and stable, accurate dots getting placed from panel to panel, and even from one year to the next. So remember, we're not having to replace our printheads every certain amount of liters or anything like that. So we have that consistency of that printhead for many years, thus far making it more consistent with the color accuracy. Also, our stable and accurate paper feed system. Again, we had great success. We did a lot of engineering on our S-Series, and we're able to bring that in here and put that in our R-Series printers. Now, when you get all those things, three things combined, it really helps with that color consistency, because it's really key to the business that you're printing. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. This is a little bit deeper dive into that print consistency and the actual 3-tier heating system. As you can see on the image on the left, you're going to see our preheaters that prepare the actual media to get printed on. That platen is now going to have a little bit, now that the preheater is working, the temperature of the media is at a certain degree. The platen doesn't have to heat up so high, and now it can start that evaporation process. So when it goes down to the post heater, it's just finishing it off. Now, one of the nice things because of this 3-tier heating system is that we don't have to have our post heater so hot. Now, this is going to help avoid any kind of shrinkage or print a little bit more sensitive materials that can't handle as much heat that start to warp or cockle, that basically creates waves on the actual material. So we're able to kind of control that a lot better. Thus far, also helping with the print consistency. Now, one of the things you're going to see there as well is the airstream. Now, the airstream is just to help control the actual temperatures. It's really not doing anything else. And the reason I say that is because we have an intelligent heating system that turns on demand to where you're actually printing. So it's not like just pushing out hot air, because that's what's going to kind of cause that media to shrink, because you're just pushing out hot air over the whole material. Our system is turning on and off to make sure that you are focusing on the printed area and minimizing the amount of heat that has to go there to actually cure the ink. And again, reducing the amount of shrinkage that can happen to different materials. Next slide, please. We talked again about the print consistency on the actual chassis of this. Our feed and take up is very important, especially if you really think about it. And I don't want to get too technical because this is just an overview, but if you think about it, we have to perfectly time the printhead carriage going left and right, the actual feeding of the material going forward, and the taking up all at the same time. So making sure that that's accurate is going to help with not only the print color consistency, but the accurate panel to panel consistency. And I think I have a slide on that, on showing what happens when you have bad panel to panel consistency. Now, another important thing is, remember this is water-based, so we can now immediately laminate. So let's say you're doing decals or stickers and you have to immediately laminate. One of the nice things is having a consistent and accurate take-up. It makes it so much easier to grab this roll and put it to a laminator. And it's not going to start walking or anything. Having a nice tight roll is very important. And I think it makes just the whole process a whole lot easier. Go ahead, next slide. Here's that slide I was talking to you about inconsistent print length. So if you look at the image on the left, you notice that maybe that panel on the right or left maybe shrunk a little bit. So now you have an inconsistent panel to panel length. And going back to wasting time on printing, electricity, ink, material, labor, the whole thing, you're going to have to reprint it. So might not get it right the first time. And this is something that we've put, again, we put so much time, effort, years of engineering hours to make sure that we get this right. And we've done that here with the SureColor R-Series printers. Let's go ahead and next slide, please. Here's a little bit about our ink delivery system. The 1.5 liter ink bags, very easy to actually replace. And I'll show you that in the live portion of it. It's simple, compact. One of the nice things that you'll see on the live demonstration, that the actual ink delivery system is tucked in nicely underneath the machine. So you don't have to account for different space for it. And it's able to just kind of stay out of the way. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Maintenance, very important. We all have to do it, whether it's a vehicle that you're driving or even your printers. You want to make sure that the actual maintenance is done, but we don't want to be stopping the printer every day to be doing this maintenance. So one of the nice things that we've done here is the automatic maintenance functions. Now, for a typical user, you don't have to do a manual maintenance only about once a month, which is huge because we want to make sure that you're always printing and you have maximum uptime with these printers. So we've done a couple different things. One of the things, and again, I'll go over in the live demonstration, I'll show you this, but we have what we call our flushing pads. Basically, what's happening is we also have a slot in the ink delivery system for a maintenance liquid. That's going to get pushed up to the flushing pad, soaks over, or the printhead goes over there, soaks for a second, comes to the right, the fabric wiper wipes off that printhead, it flushes out anything and goes back. This is all happening on a scheduled time, so you don't have to actually do this yourself. You don't have to really wipe every single day or even every week. Like I said, for a typical user, 8-hour shop, you're having to do it about once a month, which is huge. And then a nice little thing that we've done, there are printers out there that are kind of difficult to get into. If you look, and I'll show you on the live demonstration as well, it's very easy to kind of get in there and get it clean. We have a nice, big, wide open door that you can get into it very easily. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So here is the user replaceable printhead. So first off, it takes within an hour. That's pretty impressive for the technology that we have in here. I've actually done this replacement myself. The actual physical part takes about 10 minutes. I think we say under an hour just to be safe when you're releasing the ink from the actual old printhead and doing the automatic alignments that's done. So this is all automatically done. You put in the printhead, you do your automatic alignments, and you're ready to print. So imagine problem happens within that same day, within that hour, you're able to get back to printing right away without having that much downtime and continue business. Because when you're not printing, you're not making money. All right, let's go ahead and go next slide. Here's a little bit on that, our touchscreen panel. Now, If you look at our S series, a little old school. We had the little, the buttons you can see did have some function on there, but we've now upgraded to our touchscreen panel. And I think it's very important because it has some great features right on the actual home screen. One of the things that I really like about this is the preheat start function. Now, for the most part, if you're familiar with what's going on, is the actual heaters take about 3 to 4 minutes to actually heat up. So for some people, that might be a little bit too long. So we've actually added this function where you can actually get in your office or get into your shop, click the preheat button, maybe work on your file, get it ripping. So when you hit print, it's going to seem seamless because you've already started that preheating function. So nice little things that we've done in the home screen where you can get things going and get things up a little bit faster. A nice thing it also does too, on this image has Japanese writing on there, but what it actually does, it gives you a thumbnail of what you're printing. So a little preview of what you're printing, and it gives you some like an accurate time of what's going to take to actually print and cure your image. So now you can start to really judge or get ready to get your next print ready for a production. Go ahead. Next slide, please. We talked a little bit about Epson Edge Print. Now, for those of you who are open to actually using Epson Edge Print, it's still a powerful RIP software. You can do, powerful color management. It has Adobe PostScript 3. You can do your tiling, spot color matching, custom color library support. This already has the Pantone library embedded into it. So if you are using Pantone color library, it will recognize it and try to get that. It does a great job. If any of you have seen any samples off of our R-Series printers or request any samples, we only use Epson Edge Print. And I'll tell you, we get a lot of compliments on the actual quality we get off of it. So apart from the technology that we have in the printer, the RIP software, our Epson Edge RIP software is doing a great job as well. And of course, if you are using a third-party software, we're okay with that. And we work very well with our partners in the RIP manufacturing side. Another thing that's a great added benefit is our Epson Cloud Solution Port software. It's a web-based software, totally free to actually register. If you have an Epson product already, you can go up there and register now. This is great for fleet management. You have more than one printer, more than one Epson printer. You can now see incredible data to help strategize your business, see what the cost is, what it's actually costing you to print that image, ink cost. You can plug in different things. You can see how long your printer has been in the ready state, how long it's been in an error state, how long have you been printing. It's very important. Maybe you had a busy season. Now you can start to forecast a little bit how much ink you're going to be using and make sure that you're never low on ink and don't have to do any kind of rush orders. You can also update your firmware. It's just the overall really well web software that we offer for free. And I have a little bit more details on that in the next slide. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So you're going to get real-time status updates, quick view of your production efficiencies. You can do custom dashboards, mobile monitoring on the go, which is really cool. Everybody now in their pocket has a cell phone, maybe has an iPad, maybe even has a smart watch. We can get alerts to your phone, to your iPad, to my watch, which I constantly get. If I'm running low on ink, I get something in my watch that says, hey, your SureColor R-Series is running low on ink. You better go check it out. Straight from my watch, you can go in and go see this. It's great information to have, and it really helps you be strategic with your business and really helps you just kind of see an overlook of your whole business. Another great important thing, it's fast and for fast remote troubleshooting. So of course, with your permission, let's say you have maybe an issue comes up, an error comes up. You can call in our support line. Support line, it will enable them to actually go see the actual errors. And maybe if a tech does have to go out, they're going to send them with some information, maybe some parts to help you make sure you're up and running as fast as possible. So very good software they have on here. If you guys have any questions about it or want to learn a little bit more about it, you can go to epson.com/Epson Cloud Solution Port, and you'll go to the landing page. and be able to actually get some more information on that. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so this is my last slide. I've been talking quite a bit for about 30 minutes. So these are the key takeaways. If you learn anything from this presentation, is that this Epson SureColor R-Series printers have the latest Epson printhead technology. So it's going to give us really good quality, and it's going to give us that reliability and consistency that you expect here from Epson. Color consistency. We talked about the different markets that are out there, the different things that you can actually get into with the R-Series printers. So color consistency is key when we're talking about this technology, and actually all of our printing technologies. So the SureColor R-Series has not fallen short with this, and it definitely has great color consistency. Immediate lamination. If that's something that you're doing, if you're doing vehicle wraps, if you're doing decals and stickers, immediate lamination is very important, and you're able to do that with this water-based ink technology. The application versatility that we talked about, not putting all your eggs in one basket, and being able to actually offer different things, fine art, textiles, POP displays, different banners, signs, everything you can offer because of the versatility that this offers. Accurate panel-to-panel production. Again, that wallpaper market is something huge, and I think we're just at the beginning of it. It's really growing. It's coming back. There was a time where it was popular, but now that customization, being able to offer that is huge. So having that panel-to-panel production is very important. And last but not least, some call it quality. I call it Epson quality because that's our standard here. And again, we have not fallen short. Our printhead technology has done a great job with this, giving you that Epson quality that you expect and really you deserve. So with that being said, I think that's the end of my presentation. Let me just go over really quick the actual function of the machine. You can kind of see it live and see how easy it go over a couple of different things. So first and foremost, I want to show you the actual ink delivery system. Very easy to replace. This is the ink pouch it comes in. There's actually 2 little pins here on the tray. There's 2 little holes on top. It aligns it pretty easily. You flip that down, slide it back in, and you're good to go. So very simple. This is the L model. So you're going to notice it has 2 for each color, including optimizer and the maintenance liquid. And I kind of talked a little bit about what the maintenance liquid does. I'll show you a kind of a close-up in a sec. This is our nice viewing window. I like it. We also have the option to turn on a light there. And you can actually see what's going on. So you get a nice viewing window to see how your print is coming along. Great for print operators. We have our pre-plat and post heater. This is the biggest thing on the front, you can see here. And we actually, this is separated into 4 zones. So we have heaters here, here, and on the opposite side. One of the nice things is that it's an intelligent heating system where if I'm only printing on one side, don't know why you would want to really do that because you don't want to waste material. But if you are printing on one side, it's only going to turn on where it actually needs to, because remember, we don't want the material to actually shrink. So the reason why we did a couple of different things with the 3-tier heating system is to minimize the heat you have to put in the front to help reduce any kind of shrinkage that naturally happens with different vinyls and different materials. You can see here we have our tensioning bar system here, which helps with that accurate take up and feed system and helps give that perfect tension for your material. Industrial style take up system. If you look at the bars, maybe get a little bit camera a little bit lower on there. Yeah, if you look at the bars, they're very well heavy duty, massive bars. This is an industrial printer. It's built like a tank. It's meant to actually, have that industrial name to it, and it performs very well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a couple different things that we've done on the maintenance side. First thing I want to show you is the back of the printer. So let's go ahead and go to the back of the printer. So one of the things that I talked about was how important the optimizer role is in this printing process. Now, it's going down to your material and acting as that coating. So we know that, especially when we're talking industrial, this is not always in the cleanest, perfect environment. There might be dust. Maybe your material has been sitting out in a warehouse and it collected some dust over time, whatever the case may be. What we don't want is we don't want to have your material, dust, optimizer, because now that's going to reduce the amount of durability it's going to have. So we've done a couple different things. I'm not too sure if you can hear it from my microphone, but there's actually some fans here. A couple things it's doing there is pushing out any kind of dust that can be in the system, pushing it out. Second thing we've done is we've put in a cleaning system here. Now, it goes along the whole section here, so it's going to cover your whole material. Now, if you guys are familiar with like a Swiffer sweeper, it's that type of material. What it's doing, it's actually wiping down your material before it goes to the printing process. This is just to ensure that you don't have any kind of dust, loose particles, or maybe fibers or whatever the case may be going through it, and it catches it here. So part of your monthly maintenance, what I recommend is always going with, it actually comes with a wiper brush, and you clean off any kind of particles or anything you might have on here, and it picks that up, and then you can just easily snap this back in, and you're good to go to start printing. You can do it during the print. You can do it, you know, however you see fit pleases. There's no sensors or anything like that, so you can take it out and clean it whenever you'd like. Since we're here, you can kind of see the bar a little bit. Nice heavy duty system. On the back here, you can kind of see it. I'm going to put my foot towards it. There's the waste ink tank there. Now, there's actually two waste ink tanks here. And the reason for that is we have one for optimizer and one for the ink. Now, because of the optimizers, that receptive coating kind of holds everything together. If we would combine the two, it would turn into a big muck. And we didn't want you replacing your waste ink tanks every time. So we separated the two and make sure that you can just dump that out freely. All right. Now let's go back to the front of the printer. And actually, I'm going to take you to the regular version because I'm going to open up the system. I don't want this barking at me. And I'm going to show you the maintenance section of this. So let's go ahead and go to that next camera, please. Perfect. So this is the actual carriage. This here is where the printhead lives. Inside of here, this is just the printhead cover. On the left here, we have our fabric wiper. And then we have the flushing pads. And actually, right underneath here, we have the actual caps, and then we have the suction caps. Now, what's happening here is when it goes through a cleaning, it's going to go from the capping station to the flushing caps, where it's going to spit out a little bit of ink. Then it's going to go to the wiper. And then it's going to go to the flushing pad. This flushing pad here is going to fill up with that maintenance liquid that we have here and almost cause a little pool of maintenance liquid. The actual printhead is going to go here, soak on there for a couple seconds, then come over to the flushing pad. And the flushing pad is, the fabric wiper. Then the fabric wiper is going to wipe the printhead. Now, the nice thing is about this fabric wiper is that it's actually soaked in a special solution for this printer. And this is put in here. So you don't have to do manual maintenance so much. And B, to help the reliability of the printhead. We don't want you to have to replace this very often at all. We want you to make sure that this lasts as long as possible for many, many years. So even though we've given that option for the user replaceable printhead, we still do our very best to make sure that this is always taken care of as best as possible. So that's what's happening there on the automatic maintenance. Now for the actual manual maintenance, let's go ahead and go to this front camera and probably get a little zoom in. Manual maintenance is very simple. And actually, if you forget, let's see if we can get a zoom into this to the right here. If you actually forget what you have to do for the manual maintenance, there's actually a cover here that shows you everything you have to do. Very simple. You bring it over to the maintenance section. You clean around the printhead. You clean the caps, and that's about it. You know, there's not much to it. So it's a very simple process. You could probably do it within under 7 minutes of that, and it's very simple to do. So I'm going to go ahead and close this because it's barking at me now. Now, one of the last things I want to do is show you the screen we have over here to the right, which is our Epson Cloud Solution port. Now, this is the dashboard. We actually have, so everything in my room, so I have about 7 printers here from our S-Series, our R-Series, and our V-Series, our UV flatbed. But it's going to tell me my total print area. I can change the actual the date that I want to get my information for. I can export an actual Excel file to tell me how much ink I've used, and I can go into a deeper dive. So I'm going to go ahead and go click on my R5070L, which is the printer I was demoing on. And it's going to give me a lot of great information. This is very good for strategic planning, for ink, for cost, for everything. And it tells you really how long. So this is for today. We haven't printed too much. I can see I printed 9% of my, so far today has been printing. 2% was sitting at the ready state, basically doing nothing. My 1% of error, that was because I opened up the cover and I got an error saying, hey, your cover's open. And then the rest of it was just kind of on the off mode. So it gives me great operation results. It also tells me my consumables, what's remaining. Since this is the L, it has dual for everything. So it gives me some great information. So this is, like I said, this is just for my signage room. We actually have, I think, about 34 printers on here. So for those of you who have multiple printers, it's great for fleet production, and it gives you an overall view of your whole thing. And again, this can be done via your cell phone. We have an app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. So for most of operating systems, we're able to actually download that app and get a lot of the great information you have on here. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the front here. All right, well, with that being said, I hope I was able to answer a lot of your questions. And again, please you can visit epson.com/resin. Check out the information, talk to your local resellers, get samples. If you have some, maybe different types of materials that are not provided on the samples, send in your materials, get your things printed. I'm pretty confident when it comes to quality, you're going to be extremely impressed. Saturation of colors, extremely impressed. This has been very, very, very successful for us, and we think you'll really appreciate it and enjoy the print technology. And with that being said, I'm David Lopez, one of the product managers here for the signage side of the business. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact your Epson sales rep, our partners, or maybe get a hold of me via the virtual requests. All right. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time to watch the webinar. Have a great rest of your day.